What does it mean to you to be managing a club that you played for only 8 years ago?
It's going to be interesting once I walk through those doors as the manager. You know, I've been there a couple times just visiting. You know, Epp and Benny. You know, the guys that I've coached with before, and you know, and Epp actually his first year here was my hitting coach. You know, in 2003. So it's going to be different, but it's going to be enjoyable as well. You know, my family's here now, and you know, and knowing a lot of people, it's going to be fun. But I mean, I didn't realize that I was the first guy to do that until it was mentioned to me a few weeks ago. So it's going to be fun.
Can you talk about being a Park City resident and how important it will be to have your family here with you throughout the season?
Oh, that's going to be huge. I mean, because the thing about baseball, I mean, this is going to be my 20th year, you know, in professional baseball. You know, and just to have your family with you is always awesome. But to be in your hometown and have your family with you, it's going to be, you know, it's the closest thing, you know, to the big leagues as you can get, you know. So it's going to be fun. You know, I'm not going to miss anything in my son's life. My daughter, you know, I'm not going to miss their growing up, except for those, you know, those 8 to 12 days when we're on the road. But I'll be able to sleep in my bed and, you know, see them at night and, you know, kiss my wife goodnight and all that good stuff.
What can fans expect from the Bees this season?
An aggressive style, the same way that we've always played, the same way our big league team plays. You know, we're going to pitch, we're going to play defense, and we're going to force the issue. You know, if there's a chance that we can go an extra base, we're going to take it. If there's a chance that we can steal a base and try to get ourselves in a better position of scoring position, then we're going to do it. Are we going to make our share of mistakes? Yes, but it's all in the sake of development. I mean, we're going to have a talented group, a lot of guys that are real close to being in the big leagues. So you know, it's one of those things where they're going to, you know, try out their wares, so to speak, with us, you know, to figure out, you know, what the limits of their game are. So when they go to the big leagues, they've already experienced all that.
I think it was in Calgary, August of '02, and I talked to you about your future, and I thought, you know, the way you work with, particularly Chone Figgins, that coaching and managing was something that you'd be good at. When did you decide that maybe this was a line of work that you wanted to get into?
Probably right after that conversation. No, but you know, it was one of those things where guys ask, you know, whether it be coaches or you know, former players or stuff like that, asked me about, you know, if I had any aspirations of coaching, and my answer was always no, because you know, I knew my work ethic, I knew how hard I worked, I knew, you know, the amount of pride that I took in everything that I did, and my standards for myself were really high, and I knew that I couldn't expect that for everybody on a team, and I thought I would shortchange people. But I figured that you know, through working with guys like Chone and Alfredo Meziga, Rob Quinlan, you know, even Lackey to an extent, you know, those guys, you know, the more I talked to them and the more they listened, the more comfortable I felt giving them my advice. So it was like after that 2003 season, I was actually having sushi with my wife, and Tony Regans called, and he had mentioned coaching, and I told my wife right then, I was like, all right, if the first thing out of his mouth is something about coaching, I'm going to start coaching, and if the first thing out of his mouth is playing another year, I'm going to play another year, and it was coaching, and so here I am 8 years later.
To this day, Figgins gives you a lot of credit for making him a major leaguer. Have you seen any of Figgy's money for that?
When we're together, I haven't paid for anything in I don't know how many years. So, but no, I mean, like I tell him all the time. I mean, you know, he got himself there. He had the talent, and you know, and the work ethic and all that stuff. All he did with me was he lent an ear. You know, when everything that I said or when I spoke, he listened. Whether he agreed with it or not, you never knew. But he always heard me, you know, and it's still that way to this day.
Okay, the one question that I get more than any other, or have gotten more than any of the last 6 weeks, and it's probably a question you can't directly answer, but are we going to see Mike Trout at all this year?
That's a very good question. I personally, I have no idea, but I would think that the health and the performance of our major league outfield will have something to do with that. You know, obviously the guys that we have, if they're performing at a high level and doing well, I don't think there's going to be any rush to get him to Salt Lake. Obviously, if there's an injury or two, or if someone's not performing, or they start to have doubts, You know, Soch likes to have guys get AAA at bats, so there might be a chance that he would come here, get themselves some AAA at bats, so that way they have something to judge on, a measuring stick, so to speak, at the AAA level. So, but barring that, I have no idea, but it's just one of those things that it's going to work itself out over the year.